And we are finally live. My sincere apologies. I had some technical difficulties on my end related to the fact that I have had issues with my screen sharing and issues with sharing some visuals. However, I think I fixed that, or I think I found the reason, and I think I've figured out how to not have that issue. So hopefully, I will be able to share, you know, stuff with you guys. Excuse me, instead of just me talking, I should be able to do screen share and share stuff. I think I know why it was. If this sort of workaround works, I'm going to do this every single time. I will just have to set it up sooner. It just I can't figure out. um it took me forever to figure out how to use my iPhone as the camera, and to get it to sync up, but I've got it now. Think it'll work. Think I can share visuals. Um, so that's all good news. That's all good news. That being said, let me jump right into it and see if I can share visuals, because that will sort of make or break what we're talking about today, and it'll sort of clear my head as far as that goes, in terms of whether or not this is gonna work going forward. So let's see. And there you go. Very quickly. That's how it's supposed to work. Or at least in my mind, that's how it's supposed to work. All right. Let's tighten this up just a bit so that it's nice and big on the screen there. Um, Good to be back. Good to be rolling now. It's hot here. It's a hot day. Um, Once I'm done this, probably gonna go jump in the pool, and then I will actually be joining Jay on Geek Dad Life tonight. So if you check that show out, awesome. If not, maybe check it out tonight. Anyways, first things first, I want to talk about some toy news. So the Anime Expo, oh man, now I can't even remember where the Anime Expo is going on, but Anime Expo is going on. Jada had their Street Fighter stuff. They also had their Mega Man stuff. I'll be totally honest. I just am not a Mega Man guy, so I don't have the Mega Man stuff in front of me. It's simply because I'd be sort of making things up as I went along as far as that goes. And so I'm just going to talk about the Street Fighter stuff now. The Mega Man stuff looks awesome, don't get me wrong. However, it isn't something that I'm into. I am into the Street Fighter stuff. This stuff looks phenomenal. And I've said this before, that there were certain characters that I was really, really excited to be sort of revealed and released, and we've sort of seen some of this stuff before. But I'm still not 100% sold on Blanca. So they've got him there. They had, everybody in the bottom row there is it have not been released. So the top row, of course, is waves 1 and 2, or like 1.5 and 2. I don't know exactly how they're doing waves. But anyway, those are the 6 figures that we've gotten so far. All of them absolutely phenomenal figures, which makes me think that all the ones that are coming up in waves 3 and 4 were probably, or wave 3, and then I think they're calling it deluxe wave 1. I think they're gonna be phenomenal. I have no reason to doubt that they're not gonna be phenomenal. But there's still something about that Blanca that doesn't quite look right. Not that it looks wrong, it's just there's something, I can't put my finger on it. But anyways, of the new ones, I've said this before, some of my favorite characters in there. So Guile and Blanca are definitely two that I'm really, really excited for. Really excited to see in the line. Um, Guile looks phenomenal. I think Guile looks exactly how I thought Guile would look. I can't wait to see the effect and sort of the stand that he comes with, and sort of how they do that. I'm finding it very, very interesting what they sort of do and don't include as far as the figures. Dalsum is awesome. I just got Dalsum um in the last couple weeks. Opened them up. The limbs are probably the right choice. And then I sort of, did a little bit more of a deep dive on Dalsum, and I was like, "Oh, I wish there was a Yoga Flame, but maybe we'll get a deluxe one. Maybe I, but I could probably find a flame effect that will work for that. So it'll be interesting to see what we get with Guile. It'll be interesting to see what we get with Blanca as well. Blanca though looks a little. I wish there was a little more texture there or something. I don't know. It's just he looks a little too shiny. He looks like he's just sort of missing a texture. There's just something, he's kind of like one detail away from being amazing. I don't, but that's a prototype figure. That's not the final product. So I'm putting my trust in Jada and hoping that this looks as good as they have done, with their other figures. That's the thing, is that, like, when I looked at the first versions of the Street Fighter figures, I thought they looked really, really cool. The price point was great. Started here, and the articulation was fantastic. Um, but getting them in hand, I was very, very impressed. I mean, Jada is doing a fantastic job with these figures. All those figures that we've gotten in waves 1 and 2 are absolutely phenomenal figures. I have zero complaints about them whatsoever. They're really well done. So I think I'm in a position where I'm happy to give Jada the benefit of the doubt in regards to how the next couple waves will look. And if I see a picture, this is always the case, right? Whether it's Jada, whether it's Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, whether it's Mythic Legions, even GI Joe Classified, pictures don't always do these figures justice, because once you get them in hand and pose them up and sort of play around with them, I think very often they the quality and sort of the characteristics and the sculpts and the paint and all that kind of stuff comes out in hand more so than it does in pictures, especially because these are probably pictures taken through glass and not super up close with iPhones or whatever, right? So I think they're probably going to turn out better than I expect. It's just one of those things where I love Blanca so much that I really want that Blanca figure to be like perfect. But I don't doubt that they will do a fantastic job with that. Also at the Anime Expo, SH Figure Arts, so Bandai, Tamashii Nations, SH Figure Arts, sort of whatever, however they sort of presented or branded or whatever, had a bunch of stuff on display. This is just some of them. They're just doing so many cool IPs. They're just doing so many cool figures. And if there's an anime that you're into, there's a good chance that SH Figure Arts is doing a line of figures to go along with them. And if you like anime in general, I've got bad news for you. There's a ton of figures that you're going to want. So here I just, picked a few. So the Demon Slayer, the One Punch, the Yu Hakusho, I think is what it's called. I never remember. And then one that I don't even know, My Hero Academia. I've never watched an episode of that show, but that character design is phenomenal. These are kind of the things where I collect SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball. That's sort of what I collect from SH Figure Arts. Uh, but I'm kind of open to like one-offs because they're in scale and because they fit. I'm open to one-offs like these. So, all four of these are absolutely, potential figures that I would pick up in the future. Not pre-ordered, but maybe, I see a couple reviews and pick them up. I have, a couple Naruto figures. I have, the Lupin figure. I could definitely see, a monkey in my future, or Yusuke in my future. Um, because they're just really, really cool figures. So I just was sort of looking at the Anime Expo coverage and saw these and just wanted to share these as well. Um, Moving on to Cyberzoic, which I'm also very, very excited about. I had sort of I could see the next slide, so if I get too far ahead, I'll just sort of close this very quickly and abruptly. But moving on to Cyberzoic. Actually, before I move on to Cyberzoic, let me say hello to the chats because I haven't done that yet because I was late, so I just wanted to sort of get into it. Ray Paz, you joined right on time. You didn't miss anything. I was late. Larry Reed is here. Jeff Morris, Thanos Copter, Ray Paz. I think that's everybody that's commented so far. But Jeff said, I'm still waiting for M. Bison from Big Bad Toy Store. I really like these figures so far. I will be opening my M. Bison next on Wednesday of this week. So Wednesday for open late, I've got M. Bison. And then I'm going to open M. Bison and sort of go over the line now that I have, a handful of figures. So if you're interested, stay tuned for that. I'll probably put up the notification tonight or maybe tomorrow. But yeah, hit that notification so you don't miss it. Ray Pass says Jada kills it every time. I have full confidence in June. These dudes are the guys to beat. I definitely don't disagree. I mean, they are phenomenal figures. They're doing a fantastic job. And like you said, sculpt, articulation, price. I would say paint apps. I would say that the accessories are pretty on point too. You don't get too much stuff, but you kind of get everything that you need. So yeah, and Ray, you didn't miss anything. You were pretty much right on time. Thanos says my Bison is shipping from Big Bad Toy Store currently. This is a line that there's a couple that I missed, so I got to pick up a couple from E Collectibles. But I'm having fun picking these up in the wild, actually, because it's a line that I don't absolutely need. I've sort of given myself the added fun, I guess, of picking these up in the wild. Now, the deeper we get, I'll probably pre-order Blanca, I'll probably pre-order Guile, but I'll pick up, the other deluxes, and I'll pick up Kami in the wild. So there's just sort of a fun balance there. Anyways, moving on to Cyberzoic, the Creative Beast Studios guys have released the sort of prototype test shots, or these might be fine cuts. I think these are fine cuts for the armor that goes on the Aquilabator Giganticus, which I happen to have right back here. These are phenomenal. These guys are absolutely killing it. I've got my Aquilabator ready for his armor. I bought the Beast of the Mesozoic colorway specifically so that I could have two Aquilabators with this armor on it because this armor looks so good. And I just can't even sort of fathom having all of these on the shelf yet. Like the sort of 8, 10, 12-year-old me having like armor that's convertible on top of a dinosaur with an action figure that rides it. Like this is everything that I want in a toy line. And they're just making it look so good. Of course, the armor for the Fire Clan can come off of the figures and it converts into other things. So in this case, that armor, so all that armor on his back comes off and converts to this robot. That little pterodactyl guy is right here on the leg. So that comes off and becomes this little guy. So you actually kind of get like two robots in one with this armor set, as well as an amazing dinosaur, as well as a really cool rider that's on his back. I think that's I can't remember what the name of the rider, the figure has a name, but that's their like catalog shot for this product. So just looking really, really cool. And I'm very, very excited to get these because they just look amazing. The Cyberzoic stuff looks fantastic. I can't wait to get more. Whoa. Jeez. This shoddy setup is gonna kill me. Anyways. Yeah, I can't wait to get more. I can't wait to see more shots. This is going to be wave 1. They're still saying that wave 1 should be available by the end of this year, possibly even being available at Legion's Con, which is not that far away, which is absolutely bonkers to think about. So I am very, very excited about this line. Aside from Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, Cyberzoic may be the line that I'm most excited about right now. Which is kind of weird because it's a scale that I wasn't collecting. It's something that sort of came out of left field. But everything that I've seen from these guys has been absolutely amazing. And I have no doubt that these guys are really, really going to come through with the Cyberzoic stuff. So I'm very, very excited. Um, Thanos says, Toys in the Wild has lost all fun for me. I waste too much gas to find nothing. So I've sort of said this before, but like toy hunting for me, there's not a lot of stops for me to make, to be perfectly honest. And the kind of the cool thing about the Jada Toys line is that the only place nearby that I can get it is Walmart. I've got a Walmart here, and then I've got sort of a Walmart in sort of the next city over. And I found all but one in the Walmart here that's close by. So it's been kind of nice. I'm also there buying other stuff. I don't really go out of my way to hunt them in the wild because, like I said, I don't need them in the same way that I need Cyberzoic or I need Animal Rays of the Kingdom. So I'm not I'm not running around like a madman, going to 13 stores every single day before I have to go to work or anything like that. It's just it's just a little bit different. It's just a little bit it's just a little bit more fun, it sort of falls into my category of toys that I will buy if I see them, but I don't necessarily need, and so that's where I sort of find that extra little sort of fun. Um Ray Paz, I think you talking about Cyberzoic, Ray? I went all in on this one, so I'll be getting all the waves. I didn't go all in. I went with sort of a little bit of a different approach. Yeah, because there was some that I wanted multiples of. Like I said, like I wanted two of these, and I want two of the I want the other one of these, and I want two sets of armor for that. So I kind of picked and choose, and so if there's like 10, I think there's like 10 dinos or something in the line in Cyberzoic. And I think I got like 6 of them, but I doubled up on a couple of them. So I'm not far off from being, all in as such. But they look phenomenal. I just knew that I was going to be getting a couple of some, and so I was like, okay, I can't have everything, and I can't have like a couple of everything. So, um, I don't actually watch Unparalleled Universe. I do know that the Odious Kickstarter was going on, and among other Kickstarters, like there's also the Flipper stuff. There's also the Mighty Maniacs Glyos stuff. What else? I don't know. I backed up a few others, but now I can't even remember what they were. I have to look at my list. I'm like constantly looking at Kickstarter and backer kit just because of the Animal Wars of the Kingdom stuff. So when I'm in there, I typically look at my surveys and make sure that they're all finished and like filled out and all that kind of stuff. But I've lost track at this point. Thanos says, I'm very tempted by a lot of these creatures so far, just back to the Arctic dragon. And I didn't get the dragon. So I sort of made the decision not to get the dragons for 2 reasons: size and sort of cost. I'm leaning more towards the dragons, and then my head canon, or sorry, I'm leaning more towards the dinos, the Dino Rider stuff, and then my head canon, the dragons exist, but maybe they don't in toy form, if that makes sense. Let's see. Yeah, Ray Pass says yes, Cyberzoic. I went all in. Jeff Moore says, if it is something I really want, I will order it. Otherwise, I also like finding stuff in the wild. Exactly. That's if it's something that I sort of will be upset about that I didn't get, then I'll typically pre-order it. But if it's something that it's sort of like it would be cool to have, but I don't necessarily need it, then I'll typically just wait till it's out. What's going on, Payne's Toy Samples? Good to have you. Good to see ya. Payne, happy way belated birthday. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Let's see. Ray Pass says, I got the Artist Shark and a Buddy a figure each of the AWOC Kickstarter. Does the rabbit and the reptile come out first this year? The reptile should come out, if not this year, then first quarter 2025. The rabbit will be in the next wave after that. So the rabbit will be 2025. Yeah, we're sort of finalizing as much as possible. We're sort of finalizing dates on the pre-order schedule, the release schedule, all that kind of stuff. We're sort of in the so we've done the Kickstarter, we've done the backer kit. Now we're taking a couple weeks and sort of dialing in the business end of things, to just sort of make it easier and make it so that there's more of a schedule, so that there's no surprises, so that people can kind of see things as waves. The Kickstarter was effectively 4 waves. That's what was in the Kickstarter. Wait, why don't I do this? If we're going to talk about AWOC, I may as well look at AWOC. So the Kickstarter was effectively, what's going on there? I know what that is now. So the Kickstarter was effectively the next 4 waves, sort of with those new molds. So the first wave will be the reptiles and the brawlers, the big guys. The second wave will be the female figures and the speedster figures. The third wave will be the birds. The fourth wave will be Mamba, because Mamba has been unlocked. We're getting a big giant elephant in the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom line. But beyond that, there's going to be other stuff, right? So it's not, wave 4 might not just be Mamba, but at the moment that's what's in wave 4. So we want to make it so that it's a little bit better scheduled. So pre-orders for the first wave, so retail pre-orders for the first wave of Series 2, which is the reptiles and the brawlers, will be going up, very, very soon. It'll go up on the Spiro Toys website. It'll go up on Big Bad Toy Store as Wave 1. It's already up there as sort of a Kickstarter thing. But then across all online retailers, we're working on getting them their sort of graphics and pricing and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to do it in waves, so that the pre-orders will be in waves. Like you won't order all of the Kickstarter figures. You'll be able to order wave 1, and then we'll see whether we sort of tease and say, okay, here's the date that pre-orders for this are going to go up. We have to work all that kind of stuff out. But yeah, it'll be more concise. It'll have more focus. It'll have more it'll be a little bit more polished than the last time, hopefully. Although it's not now. We're still trying to figure it out. Jeff Morris says, stuff will ship in waves then. Yes, it absolutely will. And to that point, like, people that back the Kickstarter got a really good deal on shipping. Again, for that reason. It's not going to all ship at once. So if you back like the all-in, you're gonna get 4 separate shipments. So the shipping, if you split it up across 4 shipments, is like virtually nothing. We're losing money on the shipping, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. The next thing that we'll be shipping is wave 4, which is on its way now. As soon as it's available, I'm sure we'll be talking about it more. But wave 4 is, of course, the Gladiator wave. This that I've got on the screen has gone up for pre-order on the Spiro site as well. This is wave 5. So the Void went up for pre-order a while ago. He has now been added. The wave has been sort of filled out ever so slightly with a couple new figures. So we have, of course, the Necro Armor Pale in the middle there, which is an awesome figure. So it's a new head sculpt for Pale. And then we've got the Feralist Ranger, which is well, it's not all existing parts, is it? It's, that quiver and the arrows are new. So there is some new stuff even in there, but This will be wave 5. This is up for pre-order now. These should be arriving before the end of the year. With any luck, maybe even in time for Legion's Con. We will see. Um, don't hold us to that, but we're working on it. This is some awesome photography from Trevor. 1/6 shooter Trevor Williams did the photography on this wave as well. I should mention that those previous shots, the Creative Beast Studio ones, were all from Creative Beast Studio. The pictures of the Jada and the SH figure art stuff came from toynewse.com. None of these are my pictures, and I don't claim ownership of them. So please don't hit me with a copyright strike. I lost my cactus says, do you think the lizard wave will come in time for Christmas? I'm really hopeful that it will. We're pretty much on track for that. Brutox was sort of the last figure that we needed a paint master for. That is done, and should be able to be shipped to get the factory to take a look at it and start figuring that stuff out. We had already been in pre-production phase for the Brawler Buck, of course, for the Void, and the Reptile was sort of already in there as well because we knew we were making it. We were trying to get it out as soon as possible. So, dang it, I did not set this up well enough at all. Shoot, hold on. Ay, 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 ay. Let me just ever so that's fine. I'll leave that. I gotta stop kicking the mount that it's on. Will the lizard come out in time for Christmas? Hopefully, but I'm not making any promises. There's so much stuff that can happen between now and then. Thankfully, there's no Chinese New Year between now and then, so we won't see, a big 6-week delay. So as long as we can get it sort of done on the schedule that we anticipated getting done, there is still a chance, but we will see. As I said, if not, this wave 5 wave will probably be sort of here in time for Christmas. And if this is earlier, then it sort of allows us to get the lizards in the queue a little bit sooner. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed everything goes smoothly from here until the end of the year. Thanos says, I decided to get in on the Gladiator versions of Pale and Atreyu. Good choice. They are phenomenal. They look so good. I'll be honest. I was in the camp that was like, do I really need another version of Pale? Do I really need another version of Atreyu? But they're awesome. They're so good. They're well worth picking up. Let's see. Ray says, take your time. I want the best product you can make. I'd rather it be late and perfect. I'll be perfectly honest. It's not even so much that. It's just there's so many moving parts to get these things, designed, sculpted, painted, shipped to the factory, engineering done. Molds cut, test shots done, product samples done, get it put together, get it on a boat, get it shipped. There's just so many steps and there's so many people involved. Jason is the creator, but Utama does the design, Arlen and Dan, and the guys are working on sculpting. We got to get retailers on board. We got to get the things painted. We got to get it to the factory. The factory has to have time. The Kickstarter really was able to give us sort of an idea of sort of what the next few waves are going to look like, and then when there's time, we can slot other stuff in there. So we're not really worried about not understanding how we're going to make it. It's more like all the schedules fall into place. So that's sort of where we're at as far as that goes. Pre-ordered wave 4 this morning. Any estimate on when those are shipping? They should be sooner rather than later. The pre-production stuff, we got, and so it's in production or it's on its way to us. I don't know exactly time frame wise, but it should be here, within weeks, and then we will turn around and ship it as fast as we can. So, When are you guys gonna start promoting Dan's thing? I'm hyped for that. I don't know. I don't know yet. I spoke to Jason at Joe Fest about the Bushido line, and so I will be involved in sort of this in a similar capacity that I'm involved with Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. So backend stuff, email stuff, helping out with the retailer stuff. So when I have answers to your questions, I'll be probably the first person to share it with you. I just don't have any more information. Maybe I'll reach out to Dan. Maybe we'll see if we can get some design stuff. We can get some more. We can get more people sort of hyped on that. We're definitely looking at there being more information coming soon. We just really needed to get the Kickstarter and the backer kit and stuff out of the way first. Um, and then we can sort of move to that. I will share this. Initially, we were looking at waves of 2 figures per wave. So basically like a samurai and an oni per wave and just doing 2 figures at a time. Dan really wants to do 4 figures per wave. He's really pushing for that, which would probably look like two samurai and 2 oni or something along those lines. And so that changes things because that changes production schedules at the factory. We'll be doing these through the same factory that we do the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. So then, the timelines change a little bit. So as I said, more answers as I have them. Yeah. I lost my cactus. I do hope the reptiles keep getting more focused beyond the 3. They're definitely my favorite. Oh, we'll definitely get more than those 3 lizards or reptiles. There's already talk about where else we can use those, what else we can use those for, what other colorways, what other armor sets, character wise, all that kind of stuff. So don't worry, there will be more reptiles. Ray Pass says start giving us sneak peeks soon. Well, I'll do it as soon as I can. As soon as I can. Let's see. Let's see. Ray Pass says, I'm down, Dan. I love your work, dude. Did Dan comment and then delete? No, I don't see Dan. I don't think Dan's watching. But I can reach out to him and ask him if there's stuff he wants to share or can share. But Lumix, I'm so stoked for Dan Samurai stuff. Yeah, I am too. I mean, that stuff looks really good. The prototypes that I saw, the very, very basic some of the STL files just got printed and just 3D printed just in black. They should have been printed in gray so that you could see the details better, but they were printed in black. They looked great. The armor looks beautiful. The stuff that I've seen just looks really, really good. So I can't wait to see more. Let's see. I lost my cactus. I'd love to see the helmeted head in blue. You're getting the helmeted head in a couple different colors. Are we not getting it in blue? I feel like we're getting the helmeted head in blue. I could be wrong. It may be a Kickstarter exclusive thing though. I can't remember now. Because I feel like we did do it in blue. No, I lost my cactuses. It's red with the armored reptile. Yes. But I think we used that head again as an alternate head for one of the figures, and then I think we used that head again as a Kickstarter exclusive 3rd color for the reptiles. So Caleb says, "What is the name of the samurai line?" I think it's just called Bushido. That could change, but it hasn't really. We had some samples at Legions Con last year. But if you look up, I think it's Death Metal Dan on Instagram, I think is his handle. I'm not 100% certain. But actually, you know what? Let me see. Since visuals are working, I wonder if I can look him up. And there we go. Okay, so here is Dan's stuff, and right there, pinned to the top, is some of his work for the Bushido line. So there it is. Bushido, Samurai, and Folklore. We're not gonna spend much time with this. I'm just warning you guys. Um, but yeah, there's sort of the first. I think this will probably be like the first figure in the line. So you get the alt head with the helmet off. You get the swords with the scabbards. Just beautifully designed. These were the prototypes that we had at this may have been Legion's Con. I think he might have had them at PowerCon as well. So there's like an armored version as well as an unarmored version. He's also, as I said, got oni, yokai, other mythological beasts from Japanese culture. So there's going to be some really really cool stuff. So stay tuned for that. If you're at all interested, I'll put Dan's link in the description below. Once the video's done and I get around to doing that stuff. I'm really bad about that stuff. But I mean, Dan sculpts a lot of really really cool stuff, and if you want to see some better versions, some sort of better, sort of sharper images of the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom stuff, he's done a lot of that stuff too. So check out his stuff on Instagram. He does Marvel Legends, he does Black Series, he does all kinds of stuff. He did a bunch of the stuff for Nightcrawler. So the new pinless arms, pinless legs, the head sculpts. So he's doing a lot of really really cool stuff. So well worth checking out his Instagram page. And I'm sure there will be more news there as it develops. All right, back to our regular scheduled programming. I lost my cactuses. You did a blue snake head as a Kickstarter thing, I believe. Hold on, let me check. I can actually check this very, very quickly, or try to. Actually, I don't think I will be able to see it because I can't quite remember where it would be. And I'm not going to spend 10 minutes looking for it. But as I said, if you backed the Kickstarter for an all-in, you will be getting like a third set of reptile heads. So, and if you didn't, start reaching out to people because that's strictly going to be a Kickstarter thing. Let's see. Referring to the Bushido line, that's fairly realistic looking. Yeah, it is. That's what he's sort of going for. So, Caleb says that looks amazing. Looking forward to that. I was just putting it out there that I love Dan's work. Fair enough, Ray. I appreciate that, and I'm sure Dan does as well. Dan's work is phenomenal, and Dan's just a great dude. He's just a really easy guy to work with and stuff too. So. Anyways, that's sort of all the toy news that was, relevant to me in the lines that I typically collect. So now I want to move on to my little topic, my little sort of thing I wanted to muse on today, which is how is it that every 90s property is getting reimagined, re-released, remade, sort of updated, on and on and on, but Image Comics, which is easily the most iconic comic book publisher of the 90s, has been way underserviced. Way underserviced. There's so many great comic books that came out in the 90s and even into the 2000s from Image, that are so toyetic and would make such good figures. And yet we've got a couple Spawn figures. We got Grifter. We got a version of Grifter from WildC.A.T.S in the McFarlane line. Help me out. Is there anything else? I think maybe there was. I feel like there was a couple other figures, but they're sort of like one-offs, or they're sort of import type stuff. Like there's no line. And I'll say this: I understand that. I understand the image is works differently, right? Like if you're under the Marvel umbrella, Marvel kind of owns the IP and Marvel has the rights to make the toys or whatever. I understand that Image works differently. Image is sort of the publisher but not the owner of the IPs. So I know that there would be some difficulty in terms of like, getting all the people that own the IPs to sort of sign off on it. But doesn't it seem like a no-brainer? Like, doesn't it seem like this line would absolutely crush? I mean, I just pulled some images that I thought would be figures that would work. This is by no means my sort of exhaustive search of image, comic book titles that would be great figures. This is just like the list of the ones that I would buy, the ones that I would be interested in, and it doesn't even include everything. It doesn't include everything, and I'll get to that in a moment because Thanos, you touched on one right here. I want a new Max, and that's the thing. There's been Angela in Marvel Legends. That's there's weird stuff that sort of pops up. Rob Liefeld is getting his figures done by Loose Collector. I know, but I think they're only doing like 2 figures, and they're like $100 a pop. And 2 figures does not make a line. I'm sorry, it doesn't. And 2 $100 figures really doesn't make a line. So I'm not sure what's going on with those ones. So I don't know. Extreme Studios so far are putting out pre-orders for Cabot and Bloodwolf. It's the beginning of the line. Okay, fair enough. Is it an accessible line though? I feel like at that price point, I just don't know. I just don't know. And I know that there's different, as I said, there's different creators and they don't all get along. But Wetworks, there was a line of Wetworks figures. McFarlane back in the 90s did Wetworks figures. They weren't very good. The plastic wasn't good. They didn't pose well. They didn't do all the figures. They were in that vein of like McFarlane toys that were better as statues than they were as action figures. This would be my first choice. This would absolutely be my first choice. Wetworks figures would be amazing. WildC.A.T.S. There was a cartoon. There was an action figure line. It was a decent action figure line, but it didn't fit anything else. These characters are super toyetic. I think just in terms of like you could package these and put them on the shelf, and all of us nerds that are of a certain age would absolutely be into these. Youngblood and Cyberforce, again, 2 more teams that could very easily get made into toy lines. And if you're not into Wetworks, if you're not into WildC.A.T.S, you could get these. But the way that they could do it, there's enough figures just in these 4 teams. There's enough figures in these 4 teams to do like 5 or 6 waves. And you could do like 1 figure from each team. And each wave, you're kind of building out the team. Just make sure that you let people know, hey, you're going to get 1 from each. I wouldn't do it as like, okay, here's the Wetworks wave, here's the Youngblood wave. I would do it as as Marvel Legends has, to a point. Don't to a point, okay? One thing that I did find interesting as I was pulling these images, see if you can see the similarities here. I have only just realized this literally, and probably everybody else in the world figured this out. Look at the composition of this team, okay? There's like the sort of noble leader. There's a big hulking tank. There's 1 or 2 females, and then sort of an oddball one in Grail, the blue guy there. What do we get with WildC.A.T.S? We get the noble leader, we get the big hulking tank, we get a couple females, we get the oddball one. What do we get with Youngblood? We get the noble leader. What do we get with Cyberforce? We get the they're all the same. They just reskinned each team, which is awesome, and I can't believe I never really noticed it before. But I just thought it was funny. And let's see here. No, and all of this I know. All this I know Rape has, but you're making a very good point. I'm sure McFarlane would have Wildcat since DC owns was it Wildstorm Comics or whatever. Youngblood is probably going to lose Collector. Um the stab, yeah, every team has a stabby cutty guy. Pretty darn close, right? Ray Pass says, I love Mark Silvestri. Get Jason to do these figures, the Cyberforce ones. Yeah. You could probably pick up a couple of them. I mean, I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know how all the licensing works for all this stuff. Even McFarlane getting the DC stuff. I don't know if, again, I don't know if Wildstorm being part of DC means that Wildcats is off limits, or whether it's still whether it's still a licensable thing, even, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. Now that's just teams, right? And then if you want to stretch it out, or if you want to introduce sort of more figures in the waves or things like that. Oh, actually, these are teams as well. Sorry, I forgot that I had another slide of teams. Gen 13, Team 7. Also, these would be amazing figures, and I think would appeal. You've got X-Men type figures, you've got military type figures, you've got characters that cross over from one to the other. Like Team 7 has characters in Wildcats, Team 7 has characters in Gen 13. There was world building within there, so you can get, different versions of characters, all that kind of fun stuff. Then you've got amazing characters in and of themselves, depending on who you ask. I absolutely loved the Troll comic, but also Savage Dragon is they're on like 300 and something issues that Eric Larson has done every issue. Like, it's insane how much they've got. Troll doesn't have quite as many, background characters. Savage Dragon, though, has a whole line of figures that you could pull from those pages. There's so many, like, I don't think you would run out of characters. I don't, or run out of figures before you were sort of like, okay, we're done with this toy line, because there's just so many versions. There's so, jeez. Okay, last time, I promise. Yeah, I mean, I did. There's just so many properties. There's so many characters. There's so much they could do with these. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Is there an image book that you would love to see figures for? Do you think this is something that's feasible? Is there enough Image Comics fans that cross over to toy collectors that this would work? Is there characters that people wouldn't buy? You know what I mean? Like, would people not buy Mother 1? Would people not buy, one of these characters? Is there somebody in Cyberforce that doesn't seem as toyetic or whatever? Let me know. I'm genuinely curious. And I will pull up comments. They can license to anyone. Yeah, I mean, that's true, right? Like, I think even if McFarlane sort of owns the rights to Wildstorm Comics, they could certainly license it out. GI Joe is a perfect example. Ninja Turtles is probably an even better example. There's 87 companies making Ninja Turtle figures. I Lost My Cactus says, I haven't heard of a single one of these, but I'm younger than you. Fair enough. And that's kind of part of the equation, right? Would there be enough people? Would there be enough people in the sort of 35 to 45 age group? Maybe. Would there be people that sort of came to it late? There's people. I mean, I Lost My Cactus. Maybe I'll put this question to you. You're younger. Do you read comics? And if so, do you read Image Comics? Is there an Image comic that's current that you think would sort of be toyetic enough that it could be added to an Image line? Like, could this be in the way that there's like Marvel Legends and they do all the Marvel stuff, or DC Could there be an umbrella line that all this stuff would fit into? I wonder. Rick Jones, Image TMNT would be popular. Fair enough. Fair enough. Witchblade and Fathom. Witchblade for sure. Witchblade has like a really, really big following. Um, Here are a few things I would like that's maybe not enough nostalgia in, but it would like to see A-Team, Knight Rider, Lord of the Rings animated in my dream as the Euro comics of the Inkal and the Meta Barons. I think that stuff would still work though. Like I think all that stuff would work. A-Team has gotten Playmobil. Knight Rider, I think, has gotten Playmobil as well. Lord of the Rings animated hasn't really gotten anything, which I'm kind of surprised by. Ray Pass says Witchblade and Darkness. Um, Thanos says if they were priced equivalent to Marvel Legends or Multiverse, I'd probably pick up a bunch. And I think they would have to be. I think that's the other thing, and I would suggest that the sort of $20 to $30, maybe a little bit more, 25 to $35 price point. I think would be where these would need to be. I think they'd be smaller. You're not gonna sell as many, you know, Fairchild figures as you're gonna sell Ghost Rider figures. And Ghost Rider's not even like your number one seller, right? But I think the reach of these figures is not going to be what a Marvel character is. It's not going to be what a Batman figure is or anything like that. But you look at some of the deep, deep cuts that they're doing with the McFarlane stuff in DC, and you think to yourself, there's got to be a place for these. There's got to be a place for these. Um, Thanos says, I would overspend on Max. What about Pit? Any Pit fans? Bone was also an Image book once it transitioned over from independently published to Image. So I would put Bone, and I think Bone would be a fun one because you could do like a 3-pack, right? Do all the Bones in a 3-pack. Um Danger Girl. I mean, what I'm suggesting is like start with a couple characters from Wetworks and Wildcat and Cyberforce and sort of move into the I'm saying start with the teams because you're going to get people on board for future waves by doing that. But then when you have sort of characters that are maybe a little more one off, like I don't would Danger Girl have enough other figures in the book that there would be like that many figures from that book, you know what I mean? Um there are some Dark Horse comics that would be awesome too. Yep. Anything, right? There's so much stuff out there. My point is more that I'm sort of shocked that like with all things 90, making huge comebacks right now, why hasn't this? But um there is a not Pit coming up. I know, but but that's again, that's sort of that's what I'm suggesting is like, do people, do enough Pit fans know that that exists? Wouldn't it be easier? Wouldn't it make more sense if there was a line to back it up? When you do a one-off, you're not going to reuse parts. You're not going to get the same marketing. You're not going to get the same, you know what I mean? Like it's just, I'm suggesting that there's, I mean, I'm suggesting based on just my opinion, obviously. I'm suggesting that if you had them under the umbrella of Image Comics, you'd absolutely kill it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Um Battle Chasers, yeah. Thanos says in terms of that not Pit figure, and it is spendy. Exactly. I think you kind of just end up, there's this sort of, oh, that's cool, but I don't need it when it's too expensive. Um let's see. Let's Mm, that's another thing. You know, you guys talking about different books and different stuff. Um, but this is a good point, and this is sort of relevant for all of this, right? Would you want them in his art style, referring to Battle Chasers? There's some that I think you would need to keep the art style. Like I think Bone has to look like Bone, but I think for most of the Image books, not all. I mean, some were short runs, and some, you know, there was like one artist for the whole run. I think you would have to have like a more unified look. I think. Now, which look do you go with? That's the hard part. I don't know. You'd have to try to find something that was kind of neutral in a way, you know, because Image, that was part of Image's appeal, right? The books didn't all look the same. I mean, we just said that all the teams look the same, but you know, in terms of the aesthetic and the art style, you know, there was difference. There was difference between all the books. All the artists had very unique styles going back to, you know, all the issue ones. So I think you would have to find a middle ground. Um, and Solo Center says, it'd have to be Joe Mad style for me. If it's Battle Chasers, if it had to fit into a larger universe, then I can understand a more modern look. I think there would have to be some things that would be, you know, streamlined a little bit. Otherwise, they wouldn't feel like a line. Also, you'd need parts reuse to keep the price from being absolutely astronomical. You would need some parts reuse, and it wouldn't. You know, I don't know how much you'd necessarily get if they were all aesthetically different, right? So you'd have to keep that in mind. Um, Paz is old. I want Elf Quest. Sure, those would be good too. Break Something is here as well, just in time for me to probably wrap up, um, because that's my 2 cents on Image. Oh, whoops, where was it? There was one more thing that I wanted to bring up. Ray Pass says it would make sense, but it looks like the creators, I think, don't give a crap. I think a lot of them don't get along enough to the point where this is probably never going to happen. But it'd be cool. That's it'd be cool. Um, it was a good topic. Wish we would have spent more time on it. Another time. Maybe we'll have a couple people on. We'll do a bit of like a panel. Everybody can sort of bring their comic book and sort of say this is what I would want and why. Um, Rick Jones says Hellboy comics. Hellboy's had comic or Hellboy has had figures. Um, you know, again, a lot of these books have had figures in the past. The big problem, and I think the reason that they don't, you know, have toy lines that we all know and love and still care about, um, is because they all try to do them as one-offs, right? My pitch would be this: Image Comics worked because they all came together. You know, they all set aside their differences for a minute and sort of published together and sort of through that we're able to sort of like um reach a wider audience, reach a wider market, you know, get into more bookstores, get into more comic shops, on and on and on, right? That sort of that group effort. All the toys that they did were like one figure, one off, two figures from this, you know, toy company. This book got a you know, a one-off import figure that's more of a sculpture. This one was super articulated, but like it fell apart. Wouldn't it make more sense to just get the band back together Anyways, Ray Pass says that wasn't enough to keep them united. I know. It's just it's too bad. Too bad. Christopher Bouchard, can't wait to get all the 3 lizard figures. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for all that stuff too. Star, I've never seen this. I don't really know. Star says, I thought it was because the toy manufacturers are thinking that the potential audience sizes aren't big enough to merit the investment. I mean, that's hard to believe given some of the other stuff that has been made. I think maybe it's just there hasn't been a toy company that was sort of big enough, but also like still small. I don't know. Maybe the right toy company just hasn't approached this. I'm not saying that Spiro Toys is going to do this. That's not even, no, that's not happening. But what I'm saying is, maybe there hasn't been somebody that sort of went to these guys and said, "Hey, would you be interested in this?" I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But I mean, yeah, Spawn was a nothing character, and look at Spawn now. I think a lot of that is marketing, and I think a lot of that is just the sheer strength of will on a couple people's part. Anyways, that's all I got today, guys. We are a little over an hour. I started late, so I am ending late, but I gotta cap it. I've got other things that I need to fit in now between now and Geek Dad Life. As I said, I will be jumping on with Jay at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Geek Dad Life today. And in about 20 minutes, Brick Something will be going. So go get your refreshment, have a bathroom break, and get ready for Brick's show. Brick says, did you talk AWOC talk and monkey business this week? I did not. This week, Wednesday, on Brick's channel, there will be an episode of AWOC talk, and then next Sunday we're doing monkey business, and we're gonna be talking about just sort of the wrap up of the Kickstarter, wrap up of the backer kit, what you can expect going forward for like retailer waves, and if you didn't back the Kickstarter or the backer kit, how these figures are going to get in your hands, and all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned to both of our channels for that. Ray Pass says, so I don't have any replay mission. No, you were right on time, just about. So there you have it. That's the show. That's all I got. Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. It's always fun to hang out with you guys. It's always fun to chat toys. This one is one that I want to talk about for a while. I absolutely love Wetworks. It's like one of the first comic books that I went and got like every issue of, and I had a bunch of the toys, but they were trash, and I don't have them anymore. And I want the toys. So I'm just trying to, who knows? Maybe they'll never get made. Maybe they will. A boy can dream. A middle-aged man can dream. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.